my name is Tori, this is No Life, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have my monthly reset vlog for February, which I am ready for this week. I have a lot of things that I need to get organized. I have my TBR cart, I have some health stuff, I have reading journaling that I have to, get caught up on. I'm very excited to dive into all of that. Before we dive into all the stuff that I want to get done in this vlog, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, and that is Book of the Month. So Book of the Month is a subscription service that I've used in the past previously, and I like it because I get to have these newer books that are releasing around the time that I'm getting them, so they're brand new books to me from authors that I've either never heard of or authors that I have heard of. And for only $9.99 a month, you get either one hardback of a new release, or now Book of the Month offers audiobooks, and I think that is absolutely amazing because as someone who is a huge audiobook lover, for $9.99 to get an audiobook, that's cheaper than some audiobook subscriptions out there. So I think that's a really cool idea that they're doing now, where you either get a hardback with your subscription or you get an audiobook. I'm someone who's always trying to discover new authors to me, and I love to read their writing. I love to see if they become a new favorite of mine, and one that I'm very excited for February that Book of the Month is offering is called Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli. So this book is an enemies to lovers romantic fantasy, which I've been in my romantasy era all year so far, and I'm very, very excited about this book because it is a witch who falls in love with a witch hunter. Like, you can't get any more enemies to lovers than literally the person hunting the other person. And I'm wondering how they fall in love. I love this cover. This is what really drew me to this book. I didn't realize that this was going to be a romantic fantasy, but I'm very excited for this book. This is an author I've never read before. I'm very excited to see what this author's writing's about. It's very thick. It's over 400 pages, so I'm very excited for this one. And another thing with Book of the Month that I really, really love, with the subscription service, I get to collect some of my favorite authors' writing. So Kristen Hanna is one of my all-time favorite historical fiction authors, and the woman follows one woman who is in the middle of the Vietnam War. Her brother is shipped off to Vietnam, and she's like, you know what? I can help and I can be a part of this. So she joins the nurse program during Vietnam. So you see her go through all of that. And at the same time, you see her coming back to the United States and how the country is now divided during this time. And I'm someone, I love to read about a specific period in time that's not always talked about. And while the Vietnam War is talked about a lot of tragedy happens. We have a lot of veterans that come back with PTSD and stuff like that, but they don't talk about how the women also helped and contributed to that and, did their part in the war. So I'm very excited to read this. It's on my February TBR. I already filmed that. That's already up on my channel, but I'm very excited to put this on my TBR cart because I'm dying to read these two books. Like, historical fiction, favorite, fantasy, romance, romantic fantasy, also a favorite, so I'm very excited for these two books. I am so happy that I got these two hardbacks, and like I said, they're both over 400 pages. If you want to try out Book of the Month, I will have a link in the description box below that you can get your first box for only $9.99. If you use the code SMOOCH, which I think is cute because Valentine's Day is coming up, like a little smooch, give a little present to yourself that you can open up every single month, and it's just like treating yourself every single month, but for only $9.99. That's crazy. So once again, thank you to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video. If you want your own little blue box to show up on your doorstep every single month, and use the code SMOOCH to get your subscription box for only $9.99. So now I'm gonna kind of just get some things in order for the month. I'm gonna get my TBR cart. I'm gonna pull my TBR cart over here, go through some of the books that I read and did not read in January. I do have the whole second shelf of my TBR cart full of books because I have to do a book haul that's coming later in February. I plan to film that once I receive one more package in the mail. And yeah, I'm gonna get that all organized. I'm also gonna do some journaling, and then I have a Q&A for you guys. So let me grab my TBR cart. Hang on. While I love this TBR cart, I absolutely love my TBR cart, okay? It does not move on this carpet, so I have like a white carpet in front of my shelves, and it's like shag type. It's like kind of long. It does not roll on that, but like the other carpet in my library does. Okay, so I'm gonna go through the top shelf, which is my TBR. I'm gonna take some books off that I don't necessarily want to read, that I'm just like not in the mood for right now, that I thought I was in the mood for in January, but The first one is What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. So this one I am very excited for. The audiobook just came in, so I'm going to be reading this before. I'm filming this on January 28th. It's a little bit early, but I'm going to be busy throughout the week that I won't be able to film this for you guys. Because February starts on Thursday, which is so weird to me. I hate when months start in the middle of the week. I just feel like it throws me off. I don't know. I feel like the start of February is actually tomorrow on Monday, even though it's January 29th. I don't know. I'm very weird like that, but I want to read this tonight, tomorrow, before I read House of Flame and Shadow that comes out on Tuesday. So I'm very excited for this one. So this one's going to stay. It'll be in my wrap up. I'm actually going to take the 4 Winds off my TBR cart, and I'm going to put The Woman that I just got because I'm more excited for this one than I am 4 Winds. Because 4 Winds takes place in like the dust, like the Midwest, central of, like during the Dust Bowl type thing, all of that. And that's not really like what I'm craving right now. This is something I'm really liking. So I'm going to put this on there. I do have Starling House by Alex E. Haro. This one I did put on my February TBR. I had it on my January TBR because I thought my audiobook was going to come in, but it says 2 to 3 weeks right now. I think it says 3 weeks, so I'll definitely be reading this in February because my audiobook's coming in. Another book that I didn't put on my February TBR that I want to get to is Study in Drowning. This is a dark academia YA book. I am in my dark academia mood, okay? Like, I'm hella in my dark academia mood. That's all I want to read. I'm reading an arc of Serpentine Valentine right now, and I'm loving that, so I want all the dark academia books. So this one is one that I'm going to keep on there. So that's some of the hardbacks that I have. I do have He's Not My Type by Megan Quinn. My patrons picked this for me to read for an exclusive reading vlog in February, so this was on my January TBR. I don't know if I officially put it, but I put it here because like I was in the mood for it. It was on my radar, so this is one I'm definitely gonna have to read. I do have the audiobook. I got it on sale for $6.99 during an Audible sale. Intersect by Elle O'Rourke is still one that I have on my TBR because I do want to get caught up with this series. I know a lot of people love this, so I'm gonna keep this on there. Now, I did try to read The Wake Up Call by Beth O'Leary. I started the audiobook because it came in, and I don't particularly like the audiobook narrators. It's 2 narrators that I haven't really heard of before. I don't particularly like the style, and I wasn't necessarily feeling the vibes of this book when it started. So it opens up during Christmas, and I'm just like, no. So I'm going to take that one off my shelf and I'm going to take it off my TBR cart. Now, these 2 are 2 I'm going to also take off because these are not the 2 historicals I want to read. Well, I may keep this one on there. I don't know. So Any Duke in a Storm by Amelie Howard. I actually got this arc at Steamy Lit. She had a lot of them. And it's signed, which I love that I have that. But this is a spy. I didn't realize that she was a spy. Spies in historical romances don't always do it for me, so I'm going to take that off. I do have The Counterfeit Scoundrel by Lorraine Heath. I'm going to keep this on there because I do want to read this at some point because the 3rd book is coming out sometime this year. In January, I read Notorious Lord Knightley in a historical romance reading vlog. I really love this book, so I want to read this, which is the 1st book in the series. So, okay, so those are on my TBR. Now, the other books I want to add are, I have another paperback, or I have another hardback. Hang on. I'm gonna move some of these down. So I want to put Heartless Hunter because I do want to read this one. I'm going to try and get the audiobook if there is one for this one, but yeah, this cover is just so pretty. I really love it. Okay, I'm going to put that one right there. Now let me get my reading journal out. Okay, so my reading journal, I have my January TBR. What books did I not read? Okay, This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. I did not read that one. I wasn't in the mood for something super emotional. So yeah, that one. That's the only book I didn't read. When I filmed my TBR, I put The Red String Theory by Lauren Kung Jessen, which is a Lunar New Year kind of, the theory of like the red string is like 2 souls are attached by invisible string type of a thing. So I'm very excited for that one. Put that one right there. I am doing a read along with some of my friends that we're reading the Wraith King series by Grace Draven. I'm rereading Radiance and Eldalon, which are 2, they follow the same couple. And then the 3rd book in the Wraith King series is the Infamous King, which I don't have that one. I might order the paperback of that one. But I'm very excited for us to read this and do a whole live show on this series. I love these 2 books. It's a Friends to Lovers, well, Radiance is the 1st book. This is a Friends to Lovers romantasy. So good. It's one of my favorite, it's one of my first romantasy books that I've read, and it just like stuck with me, so I'm very excited to reread these. But yeah, our live show for this is February 24th on my channel. My second shelf, you can't really see down here, this is all the books that I have received from a lot of people, and like random books that I've gotten from gifts or I've ordered myself and stuff like that. Now, I thought it'd be fun to talk about a couple of my favorite books from January. I've actually read a couple of really good books, and I'm very surprised by that, but This duet is one that I cannot stop thinking about. So this is a gothic fantasy. I didn't even know that I personally loved gothic fantasies, but I do. One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns, this was a really good duet. I listened to the audiobook while I physically read along, and the narrator did such a good job in bringing all of the characters to life and like with the different voices, and it was so good. I love the story. I love how everything was like interwoven, how our female character is going through a lot, and she finds like, you know, she uncovers a lot, and it's just it has a good mystery behind it that didn't make me anxious. So these are two of my favorites of the month, honestly. Like this duet is. Of course, I already mentioned that Lorraine Heath book, which was really good, but I also read Ashes of You by Catherine Cowles. Okay, this book, y'all, comes out February 8th, so you can go pick it up later this week when you're seeing this. This book was so good. It's the end of the Hartley era, which I'm very sad about. But Lawson is just absolute perfection. I thought Shadows of You being a single parent, I didn't think that Ashes of You could like overtake that, because Lawson's also a single parent of 3 boys, and you see him previously, right? I honestly didn't think that Shadows of You could be like outdone by Ashes of You, but like they're 2 of my favorites in this series, and I love them for like 2 different reasons. Like Lawson is such a like protective dad, and you just see how he's struggling with his kids, and it's so good. Oh my god, it's so good. It's such a good small town, like single parent, nanny, age gap. He's 13 years older than her. She has a past that like the prologue just like ripped my heart out, okay? Ripped my heart out. But I want everyone to read it on the 8th. Also inspired my outfit, okay? Serpentine Valentine by Gianna Darling. I am in a dark academic mood, which is why I have this on my TBR, A Study in Drowning. I have An Education in Malice, that's on my February TBR. I don't have that book. It comes out on the 13th. I have a couple other dark academias on hold at my library. I don't know when they're going to come in, but I'm like in the mood for dark academia now, and that's all I want. That's all I want to read, okay? That also comes out on February 8th. So if you read 2 books in February because of me, read those 2 books, okay? Just read them. They're so good. Anyway, TBR cart done. Woohoo! I'm gonna do some journaling, and then I'll come back and we'll do my Q&A. zombie journaling at a little different angle, okay? I like to move my camera around so you get like different angles of my library, you know what I mean? Okay, so I asked on Instagram, like I haven't done a Q&A in quite a while, just because I'm like, I feel like a lot of people do them, but like having a dedicated Q&A is kind of like, I don't know. Anyway, so I was like, you know what, let's answer some questions. Also, people do the Q&As on Instagram all the time, and I just always forget that I do them, so I never answer the questions. I don't know how many questions there are. We'll just keep going in for another 10 minutes until, you know, until I'm tired of answering questions. Anyway. Okay, so someone said, any fun plans for Valentine's Day / Galentine's Day? So Valentine's Day is on the 14th, but it's also a Wednesday. I think it's a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday. So I do want to go out to dinner with Brandon. We have to make reservations somewhere. I think we might go to like one of our all-time favorite like Italian steakhouses. Maybe. That's the plan. We usually go out to dinner. We don't really get each other anything. Like I already bought him some Valentine's Day candy that he can like snack on while he's working or playing games or whatever. We don't really do big gifts like that. We like to do gifts like for both of us. So, and we haven't been on like a true date night in a little bit, like out to eat somewhere. We've had like date nights in. But yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. Valentine's Day, I am going on a trip the weekend on the 16th, so Friday I leave to go on like a little trip. It just so happens to be after Valentine's Day, but I'm going to Gatlinburg for a little trippy trip, which will be fun. Someone said, any more Dromini reads in the future? Yes. So I have a couple downloaded on my Kindle. It's just like most of the ones that I want to read are super long. And I also just found out that I think Remain Nameless, is that the one? I think that's the Dromini fanfic. That one is actually on Spotify. So I'm going to try and find the audiobook for that one because I usually get through books quicker if I have the audiobook and I'm physically reading. So I'm very excited for that one. Also said, someone said, any unrequited love or groveling recs, please? I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I may do a rec video on this. Thank you, because I've been like trying to come up with rec video ideas. So thank you for that. Okay. What's the last book that made you cry? Recently, Ashes of You by Catherine Cowles. I just teared up because like the bond and the found family aspect in that book really got me. Like really like struck me in the heart, got me. But the last book that really made me cry, I reread Redeeming Six by Chloe Walsh, which is one of my all-time favorite authors and one of my favorite book of 2023. It was the last book I read of 2023 because I wanted to reread it. And yeah, that one made me cry. But usually it's only super emotional books or like books that take me by surprise. So like Ashes of You, I wasn't expecting to cry, but I teared up in that one. Okay, so I got two questions. One that says, what's your 9-to-5 job? And then someone said, do you miss your old job? So I currently am a author assistant. So I work for someone who owns 3 different companies, and you know, I'm her like assistant that I help all across those 3 companies. I also am an author assistant, so that's what I do throughout the day. It keeps me very busy and I personally really like it. I kind of fell into this job after I left my paralegal job. So I used to be a paralegal, and that's where that question comes from of if you miss your job. And I don't, because a lot of the skills that I had as a paralegal really transition over into being like an assistant, personal assistant, whatever you want to call it, author assistant. So it's really interesting how like you think that your skills are not going to be transferable, but they are. I was not expecting them to be so transferable, but I do like what I do. I absolutely love what I do. I wake up when I really want. Like if I need to sleep in, I sleep in, which is great because I'm a schedule girly, but also I like to like listen to my body and stuff like that. So yeah. No, I don't miss my old job because I'm doing things similarly. I also like that I don't work for a corporate company because corporate companies are very much not in the interest of yourself. So yeah, no, I don't, but I do my 9-to-5 now. I wouldn't say 9-to-5 because I kind of work whenever to get my hours in. I just have set hours that I try to meet every week. I do meet them like without really trying now. So yeah, someone asked, how are you? I am okay. I am doing the best I can. I am doing, you know, just the best I can. I feel like all of us are doing the best that we can, and I've struggled. The first week of this year was really tough. My chronic illness like really flared up and I was struggling hardcore. I talk about that on my Patreon, like a Get Ready With Me, and it brings you to a kind of dark place. But I have had, you know, over the last couple weeks I've had like friends reach out and stuff like that. My husband's really great, and I've had this like different mindset now of like, it's not looking at what you can't do, it's what you can do. So even if I can't do something in that moment, I look to what I can do. So I'm doing okay. And if you're not doing okay, that's okay too. You have your days and you have your moments, but things will go up, I promise you. I've already had some really good news this year, so I'm very excited for that, like all the things to come. So I have some really cool trips planned. I'm very excited. Like, I'm very excited to see where everything's going. Okay. Someone said, will you ever do a tier ranking video? By the way, I would love to see you do that. Yes. My friend Jess in Honest Fiction, she did a tier ranking video where she ranked all of her 5-star reads and if that rating would stand. And I know in the heat of the moment, I rate some things a 5 stars. So I'm like, yes, the vibes are what gave it. But I like take a step back. I'm like, but was that really 5 stars? I saw her do that. I'll link her video in the description box below because I love her. But I also want to do that. So I have that planned for February. Like, I planned my content for February. I'm very proud of myself that I did this. So someone said, if you have to write a romance novel, what do you think will be the tropes in the plot? I would never write a romance book. I tried back in like 2017. I got like 2 chapters in. I'm like, my hands hurt. I don't want to do this anymore. It's too hard. I'd rather just read books, okay? I'm not creative in that way. Authors, more power to you. Yeah, I'm just not someone that can sit down and write a story like that. I'm just not someone that can sit down and write a book. One, I don't have the patience. 2, there's so many amazing authors out there that I haven't even read. Like, why would I spend the time writing my own book when, I don't know, there's just so many things to read. There's just so many things to read, okay? Okay, so someone also asked, where do you read your fanfics? So the only place that I know that you can download fanfics and put them to your Kindle is Archive of Our Own. So I will say that fanfics have been around for a while, okay? I will say back in like my K-pop era, when I was in college, I used to read a lot of fanfics based on like the K-pop boy bands that I really loved. That's how I was introduced to Omegaverse. That's how I know what it is, but I haven't read them in quite a while. So I used to read on Archive of Our Own. There was another, I don't think it's up anymore. There was another fanfic site that people could like write and publish and put up their stuff. Now I will say that fanfics are something that like people just write them for themselves and post them. So I just feel like you have to be like very respectful if you want to buy them. You shouldn't pay, like you shouldn't overprice them. You know what I mean? Like just do it for the cost. Anyway, that's a whole other topic, but I read an Archive of Our Own. That's where I can download them and put them to my Kindle, which I find easier. Now when I was younger, I would just read them like on my phone, like scroll on the website. Just do it that way. I wouldn't recommend that. That hurts your eyes. Also, it's if you get lost, like if you're in a chapter and it's like 30,000 words and you lose your place, like you have to go scroll and find it, like if it reloads. It's happened before. I used to read like on my laptop when I was in college, like in class and stuff like that. So that's where I would read them, but I primarily read on Archive of Our Own. So someone also asked, what do you like most about BookTube? And personally, I like that I can be like creative in my own way. I'm not a very like super creative person. Like there's some people out there that I'm like, wow, you're amazing. I'm not that person. I know that about myself, but I get to be like creative in my own way, and I get to be like open, and I get to kind of just like do my own thing. I don't know. I get to talk about the books that I want to read and books that I want to talk about. I don't know. I like that, you know, I now have a library, which is something I never thought I would have. I don't know. I've been reading for over a decade, and I never even knew BookTube and Instagram was like a thing for booktubers and bookstagrammers and like the community. So finding like my hobby, which I've never actually had like my own hobby. Like you can ask my husband. He's always been a gamer, and I would just sit next to him and read while he played games, which is super nice. But like when he'd have, you know, friends that he want to talk to online, and I'd be like, but I want you to hang out with me because I'm bored. I don't have anything to do. He's always told me like, oh, I wish you had a hobby. Like you need to get your hobby. Like you read, but like your community, like you don't have anyone to talk to. So now it's really cool that not only have I found friends that I chat with all the time, we go on trips together. I get to see them at book signings I'm very excited for. But also at the same time, I get to have like this creative outlet and put stuff out for you guys. And I also now work in this bookish space, which is like honestly crazy to me because I never thought that this would be like something I could do, you know what I mean? And I'm doing it, and it's very cool. So yeah, I'm just having a lot of thoughts. Like I'm turning 30 this year in September, which at first I was like, oh, I don't care about turning 30. And now that it's here, I'm like, I'm turning 30. My husband's also turning 30, but it's just like crazy to me that I'll be 30. Like I'll be a 30-year-old. Also, my brother's gonna be 18 this year. my baby, like my little baby. Anyway, so yeah, I just have a lot of thoughts. I'm really grateful. I'm in this like very grateful space. I'm like grateful for the things I have, grateful for the things that I've gone through, and just so that, wow, we got really sappy. Anyway, that's all the questions that I have for this Q&A. I literally posted it last night, so it wasn't like too many to like sit there. But yeah, I feel a lot better now that I got my reading journal all set up. I did some planning too on my planner that you already saw, just to kind of get like work stuff caught up for tomorrow, because like I feel like tomorrow's like the start of like the month, the week going into the new month, so I needed to like get all that stuff set up. I feel really good about it. I have my content planned, I have reading journal stuff, so yeah. Once again, I want to thank Book of the Month for sponsoring this video, because I'm very excited to have the 2 books on my TBR cart that you saw me put on there. I'm very excited, but if you want your own little blue box delivered to your door for only $9.99, you can use the code SMOOCH, like smooch, like a little kiss, and you can get your own box for $9.99. So thank you so much for sponsoring this video. For the emoji, drop me a blue heart emoji, drop me the kissing emoji, like the smooch emoji, like that one. Drop me that one in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this monthly reset vlog. I've been doing them now for a couple months and I really like them. Like, it puts me in a good mindset. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content from me. As always, I hope you're living a novel life, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.